pads are useful for their purpose, but they are no substitute for brains.
All right, here we go.
I have to say, well done, Ray. Well done. Well played, my adversary. Well played.
Phoenix isn't gay, but if he was, he'd pick Fremo.
Oh yeah, he'd be living down there with you in the bunker, man. Woo!
Once you go free, you'll always do the Z.
Like one day of not going to Duncan, and you could get a controller, a new Xbox, possibly even a cord.
And now your host is back from Dunkin' Donuts.
Welcome to BGFG, episode 49. I'm your host, Chris Phoenix, and joining me, as always, my brother from another mother, Mr. Fremo Z. How are you doing this week, sir?
I'm doing well. Doing very well.
Good. It is Easter today that we're recording.
It
So,
is. He is risen.
Happy Easter to you, good sir.
And happy Easter to you. Lay off the eggs.
Yeah, I
Hard
thought,
boiled or otherwise.
I have to say, there's one thing that's good about when you don't have kids anymore, or younger kids. No more Easter egg hunts. So I
Yeah.
was happy about that, because
Uh,
I passed by like 3 churches that had the entire front lawns covered.
Yeah. We've got a big Easter egg hunt coming up here in a little bit. It's always fun because I always, would consider myself a traditionalist in most things.
Sure.
And I think I'm moving away from that, especially for eggs on Easter.
Yeah.
Just buy a bunch of the plastic ones, stuff something in them, and hide them out in the yard. Because hitting a hard-boiled egg like 2 months later that no one found with the lawnmower,
Yeah.
never fun.
Oh, never. And I always had that, like, I would always have my brother over, and uncle's always the one that puts it in like the gutter or like someplace where the kid
Yeah.
can't reach. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why'd you put it in the rose bush?
Are you really encouraging them to climb that tree to get to the top to get that one egg?
Good job.
But
So good amount of show this week, and funny, the show relies a lot this week on AI, because again, it's in the news everywhere. So it's one of those things that we keep talking about, and I think we should
I
talk
mean,
about it.
everything's headed that way. Everything's starting to use AI.
Yep, everything. So we're definitely going to get into that, and let's start off with this week's news.
BGFG News. You heard it here third.
So first up in this week's news, Russia is feeding AI with lies. Don't be surprised. Russia is automating false information and topics, affecting AI chatbots. And as more people use and rely on chatbots, which is really kind of getting disturbing, the problem actually gets worse. Earlier this year, researchers asked 10 leading chatbots about topics around the Ukraine, for instance, and a third of the responses were false.
Yeah.
Not a lot. A third is not a lot. But
That's pretty significant.
when you keep flooding chatbots, I mean, that was just,
I mean, that's a third. That's 1 out of every 3. That's
yeah. But when you keep flooding them with just information, they're going to come up with misinformation.
Yeah.
And commercial attempts to manipulate results are gaining steam. And I don't think people realize that. We're moving away from SEOs, which are search engine optimizations, to GEOs, generative engine optimization. So a lot of those companies that were running SEOs, and we were talking about that on the show before, like a good example used to be Google's algorithm. We were on the top 2 pages because of just the amount of content we were putting out there on the website and on podcasts. But and we didn't believe in search engine optimization because we were doing it ourselves. It's one thing to put out the content. It's another thing to put out content once a month and then pay an SEO to put you at the top of the food chain.
right.
And that's what kind of sucked. And now they're doing it with generative AI. And now everyone, and I thought this article was funny because everyone's quick to point out Russia and China all the time, especially in the US. Russia, China. It's fine. they do bad things sometimes. Not everybody there is bad, but I think other countries are doing this as well. It's not just Russia and China. Like I think that's a portrait that today's administrations.
Those are, I mean, those are the two biggest examples, right?
Right.
I mean, on so I get that they're the ones that people hear the most about, but I don't think that they're necessarily the most nefarious
No,
problems.
no, I don't think so either.
I really don't.
The bigger concern should be the smaller level ones. You got you got politicians that can manipulate backgrounds of their opponents. If the facts are skewed because the chatbots are scraping social media, combined with the use of AI deepfakes, it's the worst time to trust anything on the internet. I mean, we've always said, don't trust anything on the internet. Go get facts.
Yeah.
But now you can't
Yeah,
even
do
really
your
do that.
research.
Yeah, now you can't even do that
You
because
can. I mean, there are some, I'll use the word media outlets out there that do a good job. But the problem is even they are having to sift through all the disinformation, all the
yeah,
non-information. I mean,
yep.
there's stuff out there that's just straight up, it's not true, not in any shape, way, form, or fashion. And you'll see that happen all the time. I mean, I was scrolling through one day and had this thing popped up about Whoopi Goldberg was arrested trying to leave the country or something.
Oh yeah, and I've seen them where like,
And
uh,
it has, it has this whole backstory on it. Shows a video of her being cuffed, and none of it's real. None
yeah,
of it.
and this has happened not only before, but this has happened several times. Um, I mean, we're starting to see this across the world. Most large companies have turned to AI for customer support, which is a problem because when it comes to AI and customer support,
We,
good.
we've got a chat bot associated with our help desk, right? It's called Bottle Cap,
Okay.
and it's about like people they they just like totally dismiss it because it has got to be the most inaccurate source of information
Oh
on
yeah.
what to do. It is just ridiculous. But anyway, I
But
just had to throw that out
what
there.
happens when AI what happens when that AI goes rogue? Like this is AI that's trying to find the best examples. AI startup AnySphere built an extremely popular piece of software called Cursor, and it's customer support AI. Even OpenAI tried to buy them. And this
Yeah,
week it went completely rogue. Customers started getting logged out of their sessions and stuff getting canceled. Then they would get an email response from, and I quote, Sam, that said that there was that this was an expected behavior
yeah.
and under the new login policy. But there was no new login policy at all. And the funny thing was that all the company said was, "Oh, our apologies." Like that's going to make it okay. Google's former chief scientist took to LinkedIn and he said that leaders need to remember, number 1, AI makes mistakes. Number 2, AI can't take responsibility for those mistakes. Leaders do. And the third thing was that users hate being tricked by a machine posing as a human. And this isn't the only incident either, Free. Like Air Canada's AI chatbot told customers about a refund that never even existed. It's like free will out there. And
Yeah.
the thing that bothers me the
Because
most.
AI probably determined that people when they're frustrated and they're offered a refund,
Mm,
that it will calm them down, right?
yeah, of
It'll help mitigate the problem. So it's
course
like,
it will.
okay, well we'll just offer everybody a refund, make them happy.
Right, that's what AI is
Okay.
thinking. Right.
Yeah.
But the thing that bothers me the most is that ChatGPT started this type of thing in 2022, 3
Yeah.
years ago, 2022, and look where we are now in 2025. People are losing jobs because it's cheaper to have customer service run by AI. And this is a trend that's going to keep going. If we're not outsourcing our
No, it is cheaper in the short term, I guess. But when you start running into issues like this and people don't trust your company at all anymore and
Right.
you lose your entire consumer base, was it worth it?
You already have a problem with customer service, large corporations using customer service overseas. Because overseas, yes, you're paying them a lot less, but they have no idea what the job entails. They don't have references, nothing.
My favorite thing is when, because you can tell when you're dealing with with an AI, automated, phone AI,
Yeah.
and it's like, no, I don't want to. No, I don't want that. I don't want that. And you literally get it to a point where it logically doesn't know what to do, and it just hangs up.
That's a good way to get some hate mail right there. 100%.
I,
If
I,
I'm
I
calling with an
forget I
issue,
forget exactly what it was, but it was like, no, not that. No, I don't want to speak to a person about that. No, and it finally just goes, okay, have a good day. Click.
yeah, you
What?
you've run to the end of that tree, that answer tree. You just they got nothing. See ya. They don't care. And I think it's just going to get worse. And that's the thing that makes me sad is that it's going to get worse. We're going to have more AI involved in customer support area. We are offshoring all of our customer support. There's not going to be any customer support. This is why people go into stores and have a fit or have road
Yeah.
rage or 100 different things because nothing's getting resolved. And the corporations don't care because they just keep raking in money. And now with the whole tariff
Well,
situation,
that's what I'm saying. They are initially, right? Like they're saving on labor cost,
yeah,
but when they get to a point where just universally everyone just says done dealing with that company, not going to deal with them anymore. I don't care if it costs me more to go over here. I'm just done with that company. They're going to figure out real quick that that labor cost had some value.
I disagree. I disagree because I've seen it in my own company where they cut all the high end people, all the knowledgeable, all the people that have been there for a while, all the people that make more money, cut that back. The workload never changes. And anytime they do this sort of layoffs and mass layoffs, the workload doesn't change. The workload stays the same. Yet you have less people to do it now. You know,
Yeah.
it's the old business sense.
The prime example of what I'm talking about is GameStop, right? They tried to keep all their
Uh,
stores open,
yeah, with two people.
kept cutting, kept cutting, kept cutting, kept cutting, kept cutting.
Yep.
And now where are they? They literally exist on paper.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like a handful
I
of stores
mean,
left.
and there's no way the valuation of that company holds. At
No.
some point, it's going to break and shatter, and they're
Correct.
done.
Correct.
And that's where they're a prime example. Now, not necessarily for the same reasons, but that is where a lot of these companies that are going all in on AI this early. Is there a possibility there'll be some success stories? Yeah, there's probably some big enough companies with enough cash in the bank to kind of weather this storm. But a lot of your smaller companies that are just going all in on AI because it's going to save them some money,
Hmm.
it's going to cost them their business, is what it's going to do.
Correct. And I'd love to see, I can't wait to see a CEO at some point get appointed and just tell the shareholders to screw. Like, you're a shareholder, that's great. We're going to do our best to make you money, but not at the jeopardy or at the cost of the livelihood of our employees.
Yeah.
I look forward to that. It's got to happen eventually. Somebody's gonna break the mold. I just hope it's not like
Ooh,
AOL, HP, Sony.
I'm fairly certain AOL is run by AI at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah, that's true.
I don't I can't find I can't find I mean they're still there. They still exist.
Right.
If you spend the time looking, you'll find out, where they still have their tentacles, but they don't seem to have a product. They don't seem to have a service. I don't get it. I don't get it.
I still have people that come in on a daily with AOL mail. So one the other week that was AIM. I'm like, wow, you kept an AIM address? Okay.
Yeah.
Finally this week, we told you. We warned you. Judge just ruled that blanket search of cell tower data is unconstitutional. We brought this up maybe a year and a half ago, about cell phone data and how they were abusing that right. And that searching cell phone data just gets a boatload of information, private information. So a judge ruled in Nevada that tower dumps, is what they're called, are illegal. And this is a practice. This is a practice of law
Straight up
enforcement.
unconstitutional.
Correct. This is a practice that law enforcement uses, grabbing personal data from cell towers. Now, cell towers record your location about every 7 seconds. Then law enforcement asks the telecom for all the traffic in between a certain date and time. But that does go against the Fourth Amendment, which protects people from unlawful search and seizures. Because if you have that data and they're looking for Remo, and they come across me that happened to, I don't know, there was a drug deal that somebody saw on a corner of 5th and Main. Well, they also have my data. So they just go back to that data, look it up, and go, oh, wow, here's this guy again. So I mean, that's a really piss poor example, but the point is still there. And this all comes from a court case involving Corey Spurlock. He's a Nevada man charged with drug offenses and murder for hire. So again, so now the question is, will a warrant cover that? Is this a warrant type thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yes, it's against the Constitution. Do you have to be more specific? Like a certain person's data or a certain cell phone number data? Is that how this warrant's going to work now? Because this is going to set a precedent. It's going to set a precedent for the whole country, which I think is comical. I don't know. I just.
I mean, it doesn't really matter because AI is going to rule it all eventually anyway. So
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're going to be able to pull up AI and they're going to be able to, yeah, you're not wrong. All right. That's it for news this week. Let's get into this week's music.
the judge will be sitting there and be like, "Yo, Justice Bot, should I issue this warrant?"
Justice Spot. There's just a TV screen on the top at the courtroom, which is a fake generative AI
What was
face.
that movie? Elysium with Matt Damon. Have you seen that one?
Yes, I believe I did. Maybe I did.
Like his parole officer is a bot, right? And
Oh,
he's
really?
trying to explain what happened,
Yeah.
why he was late for his appointment, and the bot just didn't care. It's like you broke the rule, I don't care that you got jumped.
I don't care about any of that shit. All right, so this week's music is Queens of the Stone Age. And I can't believe I searched and we've never played this song the way it used to be, or the way it used to, which is a great track. And we've never
We
played it.
probably, now that I think about it, I can only think of maybe once or twice that we've done Queens of the Stone Age, and that's a shame.
That's a shame.
Shame on us. Shame on us.
Yes, I agree. When I searched, that's exactly, wow, we share a brain sometimes. That's exactly what I say when I search through all the archives. I'm like, wait a minute. We've played like 2 Queens of the Stone Age songs, like ever? Like,
Yeah.
how is that even possible? But it's a great band, and this is a great track. We'll catch you on the other side of some interesting stick-style news. And then we have a nice little segment at the end that Fremo gave us some information on, which should be interesting. All right, here's Queens of the Stone Age.
across my beating heart. To do.
What a great track. Good stuff right there. Queens of the Stone Age. Just a good band. Check them out if you get a chance. There's just bangers. Dave Grohl's played drums for them. They've had John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin fame doing bass. Like, there's a lot. That was a different band, though. That was them Crooked Vultures. But all in all, it's good. So before we start stick style, we got to go with what we're drinking. And I'm going to take a stab in the dark. That's Primo's cut. I shouldn't even complain, because I get the same thing for the past like 2 or 3 weeks. I am drinking the wonderful last of the Schlitz.
There we go.
Oh, I didn't want to know. Cheers.
That's water.
Of course it is.
I'm rehydrating. And now that I'm rehydrated,
I have a sip of light. All right, let's get into this stick style.
Gaming.
So first up in stick style, we have a game that was announced at the because we're right around the corner from Star Wars month, which means I got to get cracking on get my skill set back
Star
up.
Wars month? What is that?
May the 4th. They just consider it all Star Wars month. The Star Wars celebrations in May. Yeah.
So you geeks have your whole month now?
I mean, kinda.
Oh, jeez.
Kinda.
May
Fortnite.
the force be with you.
Fortnite will be launching their gift to the Star Wars fans, which I'll have to crank up some Fortnite and get some practice on. But at the Japanese Star Wars celebration, they announced Star Wars Zero Company. A new game came out. It's a new tactics game featuring Star Wars from Bit Reactor. Similar to XCOM and Gears Tactics. I think you and I tried Gears Tactics. I think, didn't you play XCOM a couple times? There was a Halo one too. I think it was basically Halo Tactics. Yeah. So a tactics game, you play as Hawks, a former Republic officer, during the end of the Clone Wars with a heavy lean on the cinematics. So they're trying to throw a lot of the cinematics in there, trying to put a lot of Star Wars elements into it instead of just a tactics game. And that's fine. I'm willing to give another tactics game a try. I enjoyed Gears Tactics, but it wasn't like a go-to game for me. It was like, okay, this is okay. It's turn-based. Of course, you have your ragtag group of mercenaries and bounty hunters to help you. Appearances and classes are going to be fully customizable. You have clone troopers, you have astromechs, you have Jedi, and more. So it should be a pretty robust game. Like I said before, it's a turn-based tactic. So you create bonds between you and your teammates, teamwork, things like that.
I gotta ask, what is the permadeath mode?
Well, I would assume one of your teammates will die and not be able to come back. You have to finish out that level with just whomever's left.
Okay.
So you and I should not play it together.
Not if you want me to finish.
Oh, that's good. Going to be out for
It's
PS.
so funny. I can play a game, no deaths, all the way through, whatever. Very few deaths. I play a game with Phoenix and I die like 87 times.
Not always my fault.
No, the 2 or 3 that normally would happen are not your fault. The other
Yeah.
82, 83, yeah.
Why do I
Unreal.
immediately start thinking about Helldivers?
Because that's probably the most recent example. I don't know what it is. We play Helldivers. If he carries the little guard dog thing, it lights me up. I could literally be 100 yards behind him.
Yep.
He's fighting, looking east. I'm 100 yards behind him to the west, and his bot just decides to turn around and light me up.
Now, I know before people start sending us messages and saying stuff, I get it. The guard dog goes for whatever's more or less in front of you, whatever enemies are near you. But Free's not kidding. He's way the hell away from me. There is nobody near him. Why my guard dog turned around and shot him, I have no idea at all. It just makes no sense. And then he'll end up shooting my guard dog a bunch of times. But again,
Which does no good because you can't kill it. It just,
hibernates
goes
for a little
back to
bit.
its little backpack and repairs itself, and
That's
then
right.
tries to kill me again.
Yeah, it's literally how it works. So Star Wars Tactics or Star Wars will be out on the PS5 and the Xbox, and that's going to be in 2026. And I put that part in here, released in 2026, because I am so I don't care. Don't tell me about a game that's coming next year. Don't. Tell me a game that's going to come in 3 to 4 months. That's going to get me excited to go,
I'll
oh,
be
okay.
one better because we've had some games that said they're releasing in 6 months and then they just disappear.
Darcy.
Tell me like 48 hours out. This game's coming. It's dropping. Servers are spooled up. We're ready to roll. Okay, check this out.
Tokyo Extreme Racer did that. It was like, we're going to put an alpha out there like in 2 days.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, that's great. Next up, we have something that's a little bit nice for us. Corsair nails it again. A game that we love here at Stick Style is Starfield. And I have the Starfield wrap for my Xbox and headset. That's right, I forgot about that. So we already had the Xbox Series wrap, which if you're watching the video on YouTube, you'll see the wrap. These wraps are beautiful. We talked about it on the show before. They are vinyl wraps with one piece of Velcro in the back. They fit perfectly. And now that you have a Series X that has no disk drive, they actually come with a cover over the disk drive where the disk slot would be. So if you have one like I do with the disk slot, you can just pop out that piece of vinyl. So it's very nice. They also released a headset. Headset's very nice. Loving the headset. It's all matching, and a controller, which unfortunately mine now has developed stick drift, and I can't find any replacement for it except for on eBay for $150. So that's kind of pissing me off. But now, and Corsair also, I mean, those three, the headset, the wrap, and the controller are all from Microsoft. But Corsair delivered a Stream Deck and a Wave 3 mic that also are Starfield. And now in conjunction with their other company, Corsair's other company called Drop, keyboard company, you can now get the gorgeous 10 keyless keyboard. Granted, it's $250, but it has the same Neo NASA look as in the game and on the other peripherals that you have. You can also get just like if you have a keyboard, like I have a 10 keyless keyboard right here, I can get keycaps for $60 that are all the Starfield keycaps, which is also kind of cool. And they even have a matching desk mat for $40, which is nothing out of the ordinary. The only reason why I don't think I get that, as cool as it looks in the pictures, is that it's white. I'm going to get that shit dirty real quick. Real quick. But all of those products are shipping in late August. So if you're a huge Starfield fan, you might want to gear up and get some of this stuff because it does make, when you click on the link in the show notes, you're going to see the picture of it, and it does look really nice. If you're into Starfield and you play it a lot, I mean, I still feel that I don't play it enough.
I'm assuming because in the picture there's a little mouse there, right?
Yeah, but I didn't
I'm
get
assuming that comes with the keyboard, but I don't see where it says that anywhere.
It doesn't. It's just a white Corsair key mouse. There's nothing on it, as far as I can tell.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's just a white mouse. But everything else is
Kind of
great.
that's kind of a
Yeah.
letdown right there.
Yeah. Expect it to be a little bit better. Who is outside my house? No.
The world.
Yeah. So anyway, that's going to be shipping in late August. And speaking of limited editions, Free, this one kind of caught my eye. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you can have this one. I don't even want to fool around with this one.
Okay. All right. So, thank you, Limited Run Games, which is a company. They always find a way to get your love of the retro games to shell out more money to them, which is fine because they do a great job at it. This time, it's going to be the physical editions of Doom 1 and 2. They're calling this edition the Will It Run edition. You get digital copies of the game. You get cassette tape soundtrack sets, cassette tape soundtrack. You get a trading card set. You get a floating Cacodemon statue, and you get a handheld Cacodemon that plays Doom. Yes, it plays Doom on it. And all this comes in a really big box. That big box, you can plug in a controller and also play Doom, which is entertaining. Orders are available now until May 18th. They're only going to make 666 copies, and it's going to be $666 because it's about hell on Earth, which I thought was friggin' funny. So the pictures in the show notes, you can check it out. You get a lot for that $666. But also, we have some Microsoft stuff that's coming out because you get Doom: The Dark Age is going to be out soon, and I do like Xbox's idea of what they're doing. This is a good idea for them to do for big games. Uh, so we're going to need some stuff for Doom: The Dark Ages, and Xbox doesn't fail. You're going to get an Xbox controller, basic Xbox controller. It's going to be matte green and silver with the mark of the Slayer and one red thumbstick. Then you're also going to be able to get a matching skin DLC for inside the game. You also have you also have an Elite controller. So the Elite controller is very similar in color to both the Gears of War controllers. Dark blood red. Again, it looks good. The Doom one though has the mark of the Slayer big and right in the center of the console, which is also
Yeah,
nice.
that one looks pretty sweet, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and then the thing that really caught my eye was the Dark Tower rock color, like a dark gray as a Series X wrap. Another one of those vinyl wraps. And the thing that's really cool if you watch the video is it's got the giant mark of the Slayer on the front, and like the whole thing looks like a piece of the rubble that you come across everywhere. But inside of the wrap, because the Starfield wrap you can turn around, it's reversible. You can have just instead of the Starfield type thing, it's just white with a little tiny Starfield logo. And this one, when you turn it around, it's got all sorts of inscriptions, incantations that can only come from the bowels of hell, and it looks pretty cool. The controller's $80, the Elite is $200, and the wrap will be $55. So they're not even giving you a boosted price. That's pretty much the standard prices for a controller, an Elite controller, and a wrap. Pretty cool, I think. I might have to get that wrap. I mean, it depends. It depends on how good that game is. Because right now I'm playing Doom Eternal, and it's frustrating me. It looks good. It's fun, but man, it's frustrating in a big way. But it's a good game. Like the layout, everything's really good. Next week I'll probably do a quick review
Are
on
any of
it.
these going to be multiplayer,
Doom Eternal is?
like co-op?
Yeah. Yep. Doom Eternal is. And I'm assuming this one will be. I haven't really looked into it yet.
How come we haven't been playing some co-op Doom then?
I don't know. I just got it downloaded.
Thanks for keeping me in the loop.
Well, I thought you downloaded it.
Nobody said anything about, hey, let's try co-op.
Hey, free. Let's try some co-op on Doom Eternal.
Oh, hey, that sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah, let's do that. It'd been great if I'd have had more than half an hour's notice so I could actually have it ready for today.
It's a big download too. I'm so sorry. All right, that's it for Stick Style this week. Let's get into For What It's Worth. All right, so for what it's worth this week, we're going to talk about some tech that just makes you ask the question why. And we seem to be doing that a lot lately because we keep asking ourselves, why? Why do we need this? Why are we doing this? Why? First up, many of you might know that you can upload a picture. Well, actually, some of you might not know. You can upload a picture, audio, or video of a loved one at lovedones.ai, and it will create an AI model for you. Keep on your phone. Kind of creepy, kind of not creepy. I don't even know where I stand on that. But they're using all the AI features that are out right now to create a loved one that you can, I don't know, talk to maybe? Yeah, weird. But why not take that a step further? So musician and composer Alvin Lucier died in 2021. He recruited a team from Harvard Medical to harvest his stem cells after he passed. From there, they grew a clump of human brain matter. It's not a functioning brain, so don't get your panties all in a bunch. But it is living tissue. And then neuroscientists then connected the brain matter to electrodes. And the electrodes were able to transmit the electrical impulses to 20 brass plates. Plates create tones, kind of like music. Now, Fremo, this was your story. You're sitting there shaking your head, so why don't you?
This is my story because this is just another example of just
Why?
why.
Yeah.
Why? I
So-
mean, I'm not even going to go down the route of the arrogance of this. Of I'm dying, but y'all still need to hear my music. I'm not even going to touch that part of the story. But why?
So the daughter
Why
of,
is this even necessary?
so Alvin's daughter commented and said, that sounds like my dad. He's always making music. He's always doing something. Now he gets to even do it after death. But my question is this, not necessarily why,
I
because
mean,
that's
the ethics, the ethics of. I mean, what do you do with it? Okay, there's a group of living matter, right?
Yeah.
What do you do with it?
now I'm going to go on
Whose
one side.
responsibility is it to care for it, take care of it?
I want to go on one side and say,
The janitor comes through the lab with his little moppy thing and
Dude, it's like-
bumps
it's like-
a plug, and now the stuff dies. What happens to him? Is he charged with felony murder, negligent manslaughter? I mean,
It's-
what happens here?
it's like
So many questions around this that my
it's like-
brain just.
it's like Futurama, where they have all the heads in jars everywhere. But on one side, you get to look at it where, okay, if I can take Albert Einstein's brain, if I could take any famous scientist, the list goes on and on. If I could take their brain and still utilize their knowledge for different things, that could create something very, very good. If you had Beethoven, Mozart, and you had stem cells from them somehow, and that's going to create more of their music. But then on the other side, there's going to be wackadoos out there. There's going to be wackadoos that do Hitler, Mussolini, Pol Pot. They're going to do all these, like it's usually.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
But the more important question I think for this is Alvin
As awesome
making
as
music.
I am, when I'm dead, let me go.
But is Alvin making music? It's just electrical impulses.
But it's not.
What do you mean?
It's not making music.
Right, that's what I'm asking.
He's not composing.
No, he's not.
It's literally you've decided to take a group of cells which have electrical impulses, because that's what our brains do, right? They have synapses. They're firing electrical impulses.
Yep.
You've just taken a mass of stuff and then hook some wires to it, and whenever some electricity runs through that part where the wire is, dong.
That is pretty much how it's working.
I mean, it's not like he's actively thinking of
A
which
minor,
plate
B,
to set
yeah.
off. He's
Yeah.
not composing. It's literally random impulses, random sounds. And I guarantee you there's going to be somebody there that goes and receives some sort of message from Alvin and then decides to go, kill half of mankind.
So what you're saying is this
It's just
lump of brain matter is essentially making music like ICP.
okay. Here you go. You get you remember the big floor mat keyboard thing,
Yes. Yes, I do.
gamepad keyboard thing from I
Yep.
think it was Nintendo way back in the day.
I
Right.
think it was
So take
right.
one of those. Take one of those. Put it in an enclosed box. Dump in 500 mice and one really hungry cat. Call that music.
Yeah.
Totally random. There's no pattern to it. There's no thought to it. It's just a bunch of mice trying to stay away from a hungry cat. But let's call it music. I don't get this, dude. This is so far. I mean, I guess I'm just a Luddite. I don't know.
No, because I brought this up this week because like all other things we've been talking about the past couple of weeks, this is all moving too fast. Replacing a lot of your customer service with AI bots too fast. And now you have, people trying to create music from a stem cells from a passed away composer. And then we have what happened in China this past week. So Chinese robots ran against humans in a half marathon. So granted, we're still at the new stage of everything, right?
Yeah.
But these are still robots. There was 20 two-legged robots that competed. And there were slopes and turns, so it wasn't just a straight line. All different size robots, all different speeds. They all lost by a large margin because, again, it's still a newer technology. Teams from several companies and universities over the past few
You know who they
months.
didn't allow to race in this?
Who? Skynet?
Boston Dynamics.
Yeah.
Guarantee you that robot would have won.
Well, that's one of the things they said over the past few months. There's been many videos of robots riding bikes, running, doing cartwheels, things like that. China's also made it a
The
goal.
Boston Dynamics one does parkour.
I know that's what I'm saying. They're in a direct competition, as they've said in the article, with the West to create a viable robot. And as we talked about in the show before, that's a matter of time before that happens that they start injecting AI into that said robot. Now you're gonna have these robots. You can talk about any movie you want about this, from iRobot to there's so many movies about how this can go absolutely friggin' sideways. And running's just the beginning. China also made a goal of mass producing the core robot components by the end of this year, which means anybody can be able to buy those. That means that weird bad scientist that's living in their basement somewhere could buy these components, put them together with enough backing, and put an evil AI into it.
Yeah. Okay. So just out of all the AI type movies out there, right?
Yeah.
Can you think of one that was good? Not like a good movie, but like where the AI turned out to be a good thing.
The one with Robert Williams. Centennial, Millennial Man. Millennial or Centennial? One of those two. Robert
Yeah.
Williams, where he was
Yeah, that was a feel good movie. Okay.
yeah, that was a good. But that's one out of Terminator, iRobot. The fucking list goes on and on of shit going sideways, almost as if it's a
Yeah.
warning. Like a lot of sci-fi authors have warned us about this sort of thing that's happening because you can see it. And
Chappie. Did you ever see Chappie?
yeah,
That was a good one, right? The robot
yeah,
turns
yeah.
out like, but
But how quickly can it go sideways? It's it's inevitable that this type of
I
stuff.
mean, when you ask AI how it would take over the world, and it gives you a response, that means it's thought about it. It
Yeah.
didn't just come up with that instantaneously on the fly. There had to have been some processing behind that.
But even so, it's like this is too much too fast. Like I don't understand why we can't just pull back a little bit. I get it. It's
Because
you're chasing.
because the majority of the planet are sheeples that just want to be able to do their Insta and get their followers and feel good about their lives. Well, you know what? You're going to be able to do all of that. You're going to be the king or queen of your entire reality once they stick your ass in the matrix.
which is true. But I just can't, I cannot help but see that even when they start producing these components by the end of 2025, it's going to come down to too much too fast. And we ask the question again: what do we do when there is no jobs, no tasks you need to do because you have a robot living in your house that does the dishes, does the lawn, does all that? What do you do
Yeah.
at that point? Do we go to start looking like we do at Idiosyncrasy or Wally? Is that what it comes down to?
You literally become a battery.
Yeah, like the Matrix. Yeah, you do. And I think again, and we don't talk politics really here, but I think it's a good example of why this administration is gonna too much too fast, too soon. This is going to end badly. It's just
And I'm okay with that because I don't like most people anyway.
I know that. I do. But at the same time, it's people have to start thinking about this. When you come across something that's like for instance, I still use Siri or Siri doesn't really
Well, of
have
course
AI.
you do.
I do for answering things that I'm usually arguing with the wife about. Like, what year did this movie come
And
out?
you
Like
really
that type
think
of thing.
Siri's going to be on your side? Okay.
No, but still asking for simple things. But like I've said on previous shows, I know of people that use ChatGPT or generative AI to have chatbot AIs to have conversations. They do it in their car on the way to work. They do it while they're at work. I'll be the first one to say I've used ChatGPT to fix an email or two that I was really angry about. Typed it all out, went, "Arr,
See that
can't send
that
that."
that that is actually by design
What is?
to get people to start having, instead of relationships with other people, to isolate us into our own little cones. That's what this AI is pushing.
You're not wrong.
Because if you come to trust that AI as giving you the truth, and then someone flips the switch and that AI is telling everyone the same thing, it's a whole lot easier to control the masses that
There's
way.
there's already been chat AI that have told people they're wrong, told people that nobody's gonna love them. Like there's gotta be
Yeah.
at least 2 dozen cases
And you can
already.
and you can totally control a population that way.
Yeah,
If you
I
get everyone to be self-reliant and their only interaction is with AI,
yeah, it's that's why
and
I
you
don't
control
agree
the
with it.
AI, yeah,
Nope, and I'll
that's
end
okay. I'm gonna be that dude that comes down out of the hills twice a year for another bag of flour and a slab of bacon.
the
Y'all can have your AI.
Well, I wanna end the show on this. I wanna end the show on don't succumb to AI. No matter how bad you want to, don't. It's not worth it. It's just simply not worth it. Do the investigation, do the research, do the due diligence. Enjoy like a lot of times I gotta go upstairs in a little while. I'm not gonna put the dishes in the dishwasher. I'm gonna do them by hand. I know that's very simplistic, and I'm not saying that the dishwasher uses too much work. No, I have one kid left out of five at home. I don't have a lot of dishes. It's gonna take me, you know, 10 minutes to do the dishes by hand, as opposed to putting it in the dishwasher, loading the dishwasher, and then letting it run for 30 minutes. It's just it's just more efficient. I'm not gonna ask AI to cut my lawn. Believe me, I've looked at those electric lawnmowers, and I'm like, man, that could really save my ass in a hot summer day. But at the same time, no. Fresh air, gonna go out in the sun, put on a big hat so I don't get a sunburn really bad, and go out and do that and get some sort of exercise. Just pull back from AI if you can. That's all I'm saying. Pull back from
Not
AI.
a problem. Not a problem. I got
Well,
it
not for
covered.
you. Not for you. All right. Do you have anything else this week?
No, no,
All right.
that's about
That's
it.
that's it for this week. Tense down. Show's over.
Whoop, whoop.
Douche. You know what? I haven't even given you one today.
Douchebag.